interdisciplinary projects and collaborative research opportunities there, I suppose. Thank you.
Thank you. So actually, I will really have a talk focused on the presentation of the Center for Data Science that we have in Paris-Saclay, as we discussed it a little bit yesterday. So first of all, you may not have heard a lot about Paris-Saclay. So just to give you an idea of what it is, it's actually a cluster of a lot of different partners, including several universities. The biggest one is Paris-Sud, and a lot of different other kind of partners, like research organization, like CNRS and INRIA, for the one that we know. So you have a few figures about the number of students and the number of researchers that we have in this university. So before talking about the Center of Data Science, how is data science defined? And it's not our definition, it's a common definition that you can find. So really the idea in data science, it's the design of methods that will analyze massive and complex data. And the idea is actually to go from, so where is the pointer? Yeah, from data to knowledge. And in between those two things is actually going from data to knowledge defines what data science is. So you can see that you have data management. That's actually my area of expertise. And we have data analytics here, which is more your area of expertise, as far as I understand. And we have also other kind of things like visualization, for example. So it's important to notice, but I'm sure you guess it, that we are not a data center. Our aim is not to store data produced by biologists, for example, or by domain scientists, but much more to help people go from data to knowledge. So now we can see what we mean by the data center for the Center for Data Science at Paris-Saclay. So on the left-hand side here, you have a bunch of domain science, what we call domain science, where you have biology and medicines, a bunch of labs associated to that, earth sciences, neurosciences, economy and social sciences, chemistry, and also particle physics, astrophysics, and cosmology. That's basically the kind of domain science that we host in that center. And here, actually, it's us, so the data scientists. So a lot of people working on the machine learning area, people more like me working on the database and knowledge representation area, a lot of statisticians, and also a bunch of people on signal processing. So what I would like to start with is to share with you our, let's say, philosophy, our understanding of the ecosystem that we have in data science. So we actually consider that we have 3 areas to be considered, not only 2. So the first one is data science, you and I, okay, statistics, machine learning, and so on. Another one that we all understand is domain science, so biology, particle physics, and things like that. But we add, actually, as a bridge between those 2 kinds of science, we had what we call the tool building. For us, it's really an area that will help people communicate between those 2 areas. So actually, on this entire circle, you have the different kind of actors that you can find in a typical pluridisciplinary project. So what is really important to understand is that we are not only one of them, we can be several actors at the same time, okay? So for example, I can feel that I'm a data scientist, an applied scientist, because I'm from a bioinformatics group, and I'm probably also a data engineer. We will see what each of those means. But don't think that you are only in one of the spots. Some of us are only very focused on one area, but we could be at several places. So on each of these 3 areas, actually, we have 3 kinds of people. the data scientists, so basically like you and I, most of us. And what is really important to understand is the motivation of those different actors. So for the data scientists, what is really important is to provide a new methods, okay? New or improved methods, okay? We want to have the new machine learning techniques. We want to provide a new algorithm with new kind of features. This is what made us being happy, in a sense. When we use tools, actually, it's definitely to benchmark. We want to show to the community that our system is better, our solution goes faster, or provide new kind of result. So we are really on the benchmarking phase. Now, if we look at the domain scientists, they like to publish like us, so it's already a common point. But then, they really don't care about the how you provide a solution. What they want is the scientific discovery. They really want to be able to know the gene that has to be the new target for a new drug. So they are really interested in the scientific discovery, whatever the method is. And when they use tools, actually they use very specific tools. They want to have a tool that is dedicated to their particular problem. On the tool building, we have the software engineer, and what makes them happy is not to publish at all. They don't care a lot, because in a sense, at the end of the year, they are not motivated to publish a lot. But what they are really interested in is to build tools that are used by a very large community of users. This is really something important. Most of the time in that kind of project, actually they come from the open source community, so the most people are using their tool, the happiest they are. Then we have people in between, so at the frontier of several areas. So let's start with the applied scientist, typically the bioinformatician. And they have a very crucial role to make the link between those two people, because in a sense, they are the ones that understand the data. They truly understand the data, and they are able to formalize new problems for the data scientist. So because they understand the data, they are able to, in a sense, extract from this data new kind of problem that then the data scientist will be able to solve. Then we have the data trainer. So this is something extremely difficult to find. A good data trainer is one of the rare kind of profile that we have in that kind of project. Their role is to make the link between those two areas. In other words, to really train domain scientists, so again, like biologists, to use software tools designed by those guys. And a last kind of people that we have here is the data engineer. So I just say that I was one of those people, in a sense. Those kind of people, they are not very, they still build tools, but what they have in common with data scientists is that they think generic. They are very happy when their tool is able to provide some good result in biology and in another area. So those kind of people have this common point with data scientists. They like generic kind of solutions. So the difficulty for us when we built this kind of big center for data science was to help all those kind of people to work together, and not once. Not a collaboration that works during 3 years and then stop. Something where at the end of the project there is not too many frustrations so that people can continue working together. So, of course, one of the main things that we built in that kind of center is interdisciplinary project. So when we found some project and when we have to help people dealing with their project, a typical project should at least have one data scientist partner and one domain scientist partner. Otherwise, it's not considered as a multidisciplinary project. And what we really help people to do is to try to see how they can already have an idea of the expected impact on both sides. It can be a tool and not necessarily a scientific discovery, because you cannot predict that you will have some. But you need to make sure that people understand each other and knows what they may get at the end of the project. So we have workshop, pitching days where people, some present the kind of solution they are able to provide, some other present the kind of problem that they have so that they can meet and they can see if they can work together. So just because I'm a scientist like you and it was too frustrating to present you only let's say the framework of the project, I will show you one scientific kind of project. So the name of the project is Concur Bio. So the partner that we had was my lab in LRI, in the bioinformatics group, and a hospital that is called Paul Brousse. That is, both of them are in Paris-Saclay. So from the data science point of view, we were talking about databases, knowledge representation, and a bit of combinatorics. And from the domain science, the idea was for medicine to be able, and physicians, to be able to find the genes possibly involved in some cancer. So the problem that actually was met by domain scientists was, in a sense, to be able to find on the concrete database that are available on the web today, information about those genes. In a sense, the information was there, but they were not able to get it concretely. So one of the problems that we clearly saw was that they used not only one keyword, but several. So we will see that in the next slide. For example, you can have breast cancer or mammalian carcinoma. Both keywords actually are closely related to each other and should and actually will give you a different kind of answer. So the second point is how to deal with several sets or even ranked list of answers and how to then have a complete set of answers. So when we worked with them, we actually, as data scientists, formalized that as a query reformulation problem and a consensus ranking problems. So here you have a real example. So breast cancer and mammalian carcinoma provide this number of genes respectively, but they are not all included. You have the problem of abbreviation. So here it's a kind of hyperactivity disorder that you have in kids most of the time, and it's well known as ADHD. And again, you have not the same number of answer. You can have linguistic variation, and you can have also more precise reformulation. So the problem is that the team, the bioinformatician within hospital that help the physician were actually sending one after the other a bunch of queries, then try to gather that in Excel files to try to provide this to physician without knowing how to order, how to rank all this information. So first of all, we worked on this notion of synonyms in terms of what we call reformulation in database. And actually, here it was a little bit frustrated, let's say a lot, because actually, I mean, it was only engineering. We tried a lot of very clever solutions from the research database solution, but we didn't find anything better than just automatically sending, asking synonyms to big databases of synonym of disease that are already there, and just get the list of results for each of them. So you can combine them in a lot of different solutions. Nothing more interesting at this level. So too bad for us. We spend quite a lot of time, but nothing else to say at this step. So then the idea is that for each synonym that you automatically get, you send a query to the typical database that will give you a list of ranked genes for each of the synonyms. And then we were happy because on that part, actually, we had something as data scientists to provide that was new. What we did was to use rank aggregation techniques. So the idea is that here you have, for each synonym, a set of ranked genes. So what we call, from a more formalized point of view, just a permutation. Okay, so here we have a list of genes, A, B, C, D. They are in this order for the first keyword. They are in this order for the second keyword. And what we want is to find what we call the optimal consensus, meaning that it's called also the median. The idea is to find a completely new ranking of the genes that, so that for this optimal consensus, the solution is actually at the smallest distance possible of each of the input permutation that you get. And this distance is actually given by the Kendall-Tau distance, where you have to consider all pairwise relationships. So here you have A before B, although here you have B before A, so it has a cost of 1. And then one after the other, you have to consider all the pairs. So here it's only for 2 different rankings, but you can imagine that you have 20 synonyms, so you have to do all the combos. So let's say that you are probably convinced that it's an NP difficult problem. So we used all the heuristics that were already on the state of the art, and they completely failed in finding a good kind of ranking. So what we did for that is that we had gold standards, so we were able to provide a new heuristic that provide very interesting results for our biologist partner. So here, yeah, we got something where we were happy. Another thing is the tool building side, let's say, of this project. We had an engineer working with us who concretely has implemented our solution. So it's a shame that I cannot play with it, but if you can, please go there, type breast cancer or any kind of disease that you have in mind, and you will see that the system works pretty well. So you give a query as input, and you get a list of ranked genes as output. And in a sense, this is really the kind of solution that made our biologist collaborators happy. Then any scientific real discovery, that's an open question still. We have some promising set of genes, whether or not they are there because they make sense or because they are there because other one could have made sense also. It's not clear for now. So we cannot win in all the situation, but already we have a tool that is really highly accessed and is better than the current tool that are provided on the market. And for us, we have a bunch of very good publication, and we can apply what we did in other domains. So as data scientists, we are happy. So then I will talk a little bit about other kind of things that we do in the center. For example, what we have, we've heard a little bit about it this morning, and it's well-known now, things that is done, it's challenges on the machine learning community is something extremely important. So I'm not a particular physician, but the big challenge that we have recently organized in our center is called the Higgs Ml challenge. So we used Kaggle, which is a platform where actually you can use Kaggle to organize those kind of challenge. And at this time, we were the most important challenge. So we were quite happy about the kind of result that we get. Now that we have organized a lot of different kind of challenges, we can say that, okay, for generating visibility, it's great. For benchmarking state-of-the-art techniques with a fair point of view, it's great. But the limitation for us, it's on 2 points. first, when you don't have the expected solution at the end of the book, in a sense, it's difficult. Because to say whether or not you have win a challenge, you need to compare what the solution you propose with the solution expected. And if you don't have that kind of solution, like in biology, you always have, or in domain science, it makes sense that you don't have this. It may be more difficult to organize a challenge. And also for us, it's emphasized too much competition, although we would like people to collaborate. So we have, and it's really Balázs Kegel who did that, completely designed a new way of considering challenges. So it's called RAMP. The idea, contrary to big challenges, is to have a limited number of participants and only one single day coding session. And what we provide to our user is really a lot of tools to code reuse, sharing of the codes, analytic tools to monitor progress, so that everything that you have done, you or other, can be reproducible, okay? So that you can share the data, you can help people understand what they did. So we tested that kind of solution on a lot of different area. Here it was, so a prediction of El Nino is there. And here you have insect classification with butterfly. And it works really well. So a second point on that area is the IT platform. So here the idea is that when you have a lot of data, at some point you want people to be able to share their data, to exchange them. And one of the standards for that is probably RDF or OWL that you may know. So we have now a big platform where people can publish their data, not terabytes of data, but the set of data that they want to share with people. We help them to annotate those data sets automatically with standardized ontologies, so that then they can query one data set and find similar data sets in colleagues of them. Again, with a focus in mind about reproducibility of any queries or any analysis that they may do on the platform. And to finish, I'm almost done. On the purely engineering side, what we do is actually we have short project, what we call code consolidator, that works pretty well with students. So it's most of the time it's based on summer internship. And the idea is to have young researchers, most of the time working on a well-defined feature of a software toolbox, again from the open source community, so that it helps young researchers to really understand how this kind of community works and to have the benefits of having implemented something that will be reused by a lot of people. And we have, of course, a lot of training sessions. We are using the software carpentry kind of methodology, for those of you who knows, with conference-like session also. So as a conclusion, in CDS, we really promote scientific collaboration. We are not providing per se an IT service, and we build our solution on top of existing practice. We are not yet another institute where we ask people to come somewhere. They are in their lab, they stay in their lab, and we just help them collaborate. For us, scientific knowledge is a continuous process, with all these different actors and all these different facets of data science. So we are happy because we have, now a lot of opportunity of collaboration and exchange. For example, we ran a junior data science conference last year that was really pretty good. We are in close contact with several similar centers. We are the first one in France, and there are also other similar centers. Of course, the two first ones were in NYU and Berkeley. Now we have Manchester, Edinburgh that have started to do the same kind of things, and Montreal. And we have now really fundings for visitors and students in internship, for example, or postdoc, and we would be very happy to add Mexico to this list. So here is just the CDS Executive Committee with the director of the center, which is Balázs Kegel. Thank you very much for inviting me today and for listening.